Hi and welcome back to the git-python live development stream. It's Byron speaking, and in this session we will keep improving submodules. By now submodules seem to be fine, git files can be handled, and I realized that something like submodule rename should really be implemented now, that separate submodule repositories are depending on the name. And in order to keep everything consistent, it would be nice to have a function that does it all right. So if I want to rename a submodule, it will rename the submodule in all locations that matter. That's 3 locations now actually. And let's just do it. Let's just have a look. All right. Test submodule. As usual, I'm inclined to kind of just keep going on an existing test, just because setting up our sandboxes is rather expensive. But because we have nested submodules here as well, which could be nice to test it out. Yeah, I think I will have a simple rename test just to do the rename testing, and then we add some more renaming here to the nested submodules, just for the fun of it, just in case it changes anything, and maybe find a bug or two in the process of just running it in different situations. Rename nested submodule. All right. So let's set ourselves up here. I think similar to this one, we want a parent repository. Oh yeah, that's still kind of an issue. If our parent repository is empty or uninitialized, we can't yet add a submodule. Yeah, that's annoying. Maybe that should also be fixed, huh? Because of course Git itself can do it. Well, let's do it then. So we initialize an empty submodule here. An empty parent repository, and then we add a submodule to it. Submodule path I'm not really interested in right now. Let's make it a nested one. Okay. But I'm interested in the name. That's for sure. We have kind of a more complex name here. Just to make sure we put the separate Git module or a separate Git repository into a subdirectory within the parent's Git modules directory. Yeah, I know. Difficult to understand what I'm talking about, but maybe it becomes more obvious when we do this. All right, what I want to do is I just want to rename the submodule. It should return its own instance to allow nesting. I kind of like that. Before you return none, you can as well return yourself and let people kind of nest their calls accordingly. It's always useful. And I would like to provide a different name now, like so. I want a name that also kind of changes the nesting level. So what about just giving it a short name here? Usm name. All right, what I would like to verify is that the submodules change as well. That's important. And we can only kind of verify this if that the module's location changes as well, and we can only do this if the submodule's module is a Git file. So let's verify this. Yeah, it's like this. So if the module, which is the repository itself, the working tree dir amended by the git name, if this is a file, then we should definitely check and verify that that the module is at the right place. So I guess I would do this, or maybe just cache it, and maybe I also try to use the module, the submodule itself. So smmod working tree dir. So if that's a file, then I'd expect the location of the submodule to be, well, the following: smmod git dir ends with so it's, I think, git modules, and then just that new SM name. Yeah, why not do it like this? So that should be true, if I would make that call correctly, that is. Okay. And of course, after the rename, it should still exist. And the module should be untouched. Well, that's kind of, you know, unnecessary, because when we want to have a module that doesn't exist, then this would raise. So I guess we just remove it. Yeah, that should be it for now. And let's do it. Let's implement it. Iterable interface, query interface. That's the edit interface. Can it be bare? I think it can be bare. Because we want to touch the git modules file, if possible. Yeah. You know, for now, let's just say unbear repo, and we will find. Just assume that that's the common code path, I suppose. And there could be people who do submodule setups with bare repositories, and that's all right, you know. But I think then, you know, there needs to be a request for this feature to make it work with bare repositories, because that will just blow up our code and make it more difficult. Without a working tree, you have to do everything in the index, which is fine, but you know, it's an extra code path there that I wouldn't want to implement unless I need it or someone else really needs it. So rename. That should be it. Sounds simple. Let's write a node. Takes care of renaming. The submodule in various places, such as. Oh, and we have to build our docs just to see if that still works, but I think, yeah, I think I should have a ticket for this, because I'm likely to forget that one. Build and verify docs before the release, that's for sure. Just real quick. like so. And yeah, and in which places? So we have the git modules file. Then we have the git directory of the parent. No, wait, yeah, parent git dir config. I don't know why that is even needed. I mean, that's just redundant to me, but you know, probably it's kind of supposed to be the scratch disk, so that you have a place where you can actually write and change values that are not persistent. Fair enough, but I found it kind of unnecessary. Maybe some over-engineering efforts that somebody did, but maybe I'm missing something here as well. And last but not least, in Git 1.8.0, greater equals that, you have to change the location, or you would have to change the location of the submodule of the Git repository itself, which is separate from the working tree checkout. And yeah, I'm saying I think it's not necessary to really do this, but I think it would be nice to keep things consistent, because the name is part of the path. And I can imagine situations that when you rename a submodule, but you keep the repository at the same location, then all of a sudden when adding a new submodule with the old name, then the module already exists, right? All of a sudden this is not unique anymore, and things can change or can fail just because of this. So keeping this consistent is just the right thing to do in every way. So let's do it. In this case, rename or move, well, let's just call it move. Move submodule, or like so. Good. I'm pretty sure that the restructured text here is somewhat wrong, and Sphinx will bark at me. But yeah, I've now got a ticket that makes sure that I check this before releasing. Good. Let's do it. If you don't do anything, then bail out early. Let's try. Assert sm rename like so, and maybe I do it like this. Okay, so that checks for the rename to current name possibility, and then the next thing is where to start. I think the configuration should start first. So it's the parent writer. And we want to change the... By the way, do I have some sort of... Don't I have a way to make this easier? Config... Let's see. Return a config writer instance allowing to read and write the data belonging to the submodule into the git modules file. Okay, so that is something I will use, but not right now. But I'm wondering, I mean, I'm sure I did that somewhere else already. Have to write the repo config file as well, otherwise, okay. Set value sm section. Okay, that is the little function that I was looking for. Where do I get it from? There. Okay. Now we're talking. now I can actually change this section. Okay. Let me guess, I don't have a function that says rename. Nope. So sections I can delete and I can add. Add section. So it would probably add a section of the given name and then just set values. Kind of rewrite this thing. Yeah. I don't like to implement this in submodule, to be honest. I prefer to implement it here, right where it's supposed to be. All right. And actually, since set value adds the section automatically, we can, we don't even have to deal with that anymore. All we have to do is kind of write the values to the new section and then delete the old one. Return, does it return anything? Yeah, I mean, it's my function here. So return this instance. Okay. Let's verify we don't try silly things. So the original section doesn't exist. We shall raise a value error. And if new name already exists, we will just set all values there. Should this be an error? I wouldn't make it one. Not now. We could have an additional flag maybe that, yeah. The thing is, the user expects a rename. And if the new name already exists, then it will not be the same result as a rename because there might be other values already in there. So I guess we should raise a value error in that case too. Unless we specify force, maybe. If a section with new name does already exist. There we go. Okay, I think that's it. Unless we want to force it. Yeah, and you know what? No force. There could be multiple ways to resolve this. Either we merge the values in there, or we delete the section with new name, and the user has to just fix that himself for now. Because the common, I'd rather have this program crash than getting, or crash, raise rather than getting some weird issues here. If not self has section, then raise value error source section doesn't exist. All right. If has section new name well, I don't tell what to do. I mean, it could be whichever kind of error. So the user has to figure that one out as well. Good. finally, I mean, after we've copied this, we delete the section, remove, del, what? How can I remove a section? There should be something, add section, remove section. Probably there is a remove section, just didn't override it. Let's try. Remove section. Apparently there is one, okay. That have been, maybe there is something like rename already and I just didn't know. Get, remove, no, just get and set. All right. Remove section, old name. And now we want to have the items. I think I even have my own version of this, just to not get the name here of the section. Fair enough. Good, get all the items, set them there. For kw in self items for section. Then please set value. Kind of, you know, it's expensive to do it like this. We could be faster than that, but on the other hand, who cares? Let's call the expensive code here because it's rare that we do that, and I'd rather have more checking going on than trying to speed it up. I mean, we're not talking about serious costs here, but I kind of see the cost involved in that anyway. So set value, new section, oops, new name, then key and value, and there we go. That is our function. I should add a specific test for this, and I will. I will also just use it here. Rename section. Oh, wait. SM name, self name, and SM name. Oh, and we rename our own. We shouldn't forget to rename our own internal values here. Otherwise, we kind of new name. So that should be fine. And we write the changes back and forget about this. So that should be it for that particular issue for git config. Then we do git modules, which will leave, I should probably write this. Like so. Nice. Okay, let's do the config test quickly. Like so, I guess. Test rename. And that should be git config. Which one? Git config looks good. Like so. Okay, that's something we don't need. Right, config writer, CW. Now I prefer that name. Previously I preferred the other. Yeah, who knows? Let's write that back. And yeah, should be good. The write back isn't that important to us here. And yeah, what do we have? I mean, first, I want to be sure that we can't do anything silly. CW rename doesn't exist into foo, doesn't matter. So I'll fail on this raises. If we want to rename something that exists, but so core into include, for instance. And we don't want to read these includes either. Oops. What do we say? We don't want to read it. We say merge includes false. Okay. So now it's core into includes, destination exists, shouldn't work. Good. And now we can rename core into B or foo. Yeah, new name is B, and we shall rename core into new name. We expect the instance itself is returned, and this also means that the old name doesn't exist anymore. Oops. Not has section. And how many? 4. And we expect like 4 values here. Assert lang items new name is 4, like so. Terrific. So that should already do it for us. Nose tests, test config. Oh no, like so. Write object has no attribute rename. What? (201). I thought I have a git config parser here. Or did I just imagine that I... Oh, rename section. Oh, hello, hello. Yes. How could I? Rename seemed so simple, huh? I think that it's also a pointer at APIs. If you just think rename, then maybe others do that as well, and you should just name it like this. Anyway, I have to kind of stick to the rules here, and it has section and add section and rename section. Makes sense in such an environment. All right, let's run this. All right. So non-constant doesn't like that. 336. I think rename section, I have to add it here to the right category. Mutating methods. And still, what? I mean, it's right to do that. Set dirty and flush changes. Yes. Should do the same. And what's the problem now here? Core includes, it shouldn't it kind of fail? Oh, it's called includes. So we didn't get in there. And now it's in 205. That was at least more expected. Now we see the actual error here. And it's already at the end. We're already in the assure data present. Well, flash changes, rename section, here we are, set values. Oh, now I get it. We are in a recursive call here. So considering that needs values is something we don't have to check because we only call methods that need values themselves. So this will be taken care of. Set dirty and flash changes. Set value, I mean, look at that. It will flush the change after each time we set the value. Yeah. You know, maybe I should make sure that I'm a bit more efficient than that. I mean, if we talk I/O, then things get inefficient quickly, and that's something I don't want. So let's put that code here. If not self, I mean, it doesn't have this one, so we have to add it. Let's do that. Add section, new name. All right, then we iterate the items. This will definitely read the values in that we have. And then we just set the values simply without automatically flashing changes, because this is something we do here in our own method anyway. Set, how do we do it? We say section, option, and then the string version of the value itself, like so. And still, it doesn't like it. Flash changes. Add section, okay. Apparently, because add section has its own, I mean, can't make any recursive or any calls that have this. Can it be that whenever I call a method that has this one already, then it will fail? No. Add section has the same thing, right? It also has flush and needs values, so that shouldn't be the problem. No. So what's the deal? Needs values, I mean, that shall be fine. But still, that is unexpected. 252 add section, a 562 add section fails. Why does it try to write that? Oh yeah, because it's actually, this changes what we do. Okay. Can I also not write it right away? Maybe like so. Wow, that is more difficult than I expected, to be honest. And now, I mean, everything we do here leads to this kind of error. Damn, what's going on? 264. I even do it myself here. Do we have an overridden set method? No. But set is not listed here. It is listed. So what's going on? Why doesn't it just work? Assure writable. Is this not a config? Read only true. Oh no. This is why it doesn't work. Ah. Well, fair enough. I think in the process of this, it only got kind of faster because we write the thing less often. Remove section, same thing. Here we can also. Oh, look at that. Yeah, this will also write it. Will it? It will. So basically we can remove this here because that one will write it anyway. Let's mark it. This call writes back the changes. which is why we don't, yeah, probably we get it automatically because we have a meta class here. And if we have rename section within this list, it will do things to us. It will automatically wrap it. Yeah, it says needs values and set dirty and flush. So it does that automatically. Gee. Considering that, can it be that I'm kind of duplicating my efforts here? I think so. Because I mean, let's have a look. If I say add section, and these are part of it already, then I kind of double wrap everything, which is silly. I write things twice and stuff. Yep, I think remove section. That's all right. Remove option. That's all right. No, wait. Maybe I was too fast now. Add section. Add section and set value. And here we have add section and set value. List of raw config parser method able to change the instance. Okay, this is all nice and good, but then this shouldn't be there. Set value needs it, remove section. So that shouldn't be here actually. Good. So this call by expects a change, which is why we don't have the respective decorator. Good. Now again, looks good. Should be fine. So fixed kind of a performance issue in the process of this. Assures added options will stay in order. Okay. And this is kind of no override here, right? We just call our base class. I guess this is why the initial issue arose here. And I think I just put this there to have a place for the comment here, I suppose. So that's also not the best way to do it, but hey. Okay, we have a test for this. We have a test for all the special cases. So 100% code coverage in that regard. I think that can make us happy enough here. We know this works, we use it. And now the config writer itself. So our name is still the old one. I think at the end we should not forget to rename ourselves. All right, and that's of course self name. Let's mark it. This is the git config. Now we have git modules, self config writer. And now we write ourselves back by releasing it. And oh wait, does it have a section as well? Oh, I think it should have. Let's go to some temp dir with, oh no. Well, yeah, like here. There should be some submodule setup in here. There is, awesome. So let's have a look. Submodule git db. Okay, and then in the git modules, in our own git config, we have submodule git db. So it's the same title. Awesome. It's kind of the same thing that is in git modules. It's really just a duplicate. But let's rename it. Rename section, same here. Sm name, self current name, and as mname new name. All right, last but not least, git modules. So that really depends if the working tree dir actually has a git file or not. So let's try that. And considering how often I have done this is file, and then I built the git path myself, maybe I want to have a new method here that checks it. Uses git file or is separate. I don't know what's better. Uses git file? How does git itself call it? Git 1.8 release notes. Git file separate. No, yeah, I mean, last time I was looking for this, I kind of found nothing about it. Let's check the git clone manual. Like so. Separate. Instead of placing the cloned repository where it's supposed to be, place the cloned repository at the specified directory. Then make a file system agnostic git symbolic link there. Yeah, is separate or has separate working tree. Maybe I should call it like that. Yeah, that's has separate working tree. Long but descriptive. The less often you use an API method, the more descriptive it should be. That's what I read, I think, sometime in the Qt API documentation. And I kind of agree, you know. So, has separate working tree. True if our git dir is not at the root of our working tree dir. And if but a git file with a platform agnostic symbolic link. True if our git dir is not at the root of the repository, but a git file, our git dir will be wherever the git file points to. That seems quite descriptive. All right. Then finally, do the implementation. Should I use IO for that? I think I should. Return is file. Self working tree dir. Oh yeah. If we are bare, then this doesn't make sense. If self bare, return false. Note bare repositories will always return false here. That's important, otherwise you would have had a bug here. Because bare repositories do not have a working tree directory. Is file or as path join working tree dir and the git file. Awesome. Has separate working tree. let's call it. It's actually not too bad. I mean, here we implement it ourselves, but we also don't have a repository there. So it's kind of convenience. Module apps or module checkout path. How do I get it? Repo working tree dear. Module checkout path. Yeah, we don't have move. We don't have a module there. Okay, that has to stay. And here we don't have a repository either, so that has to stay too. And yeah, that's the same thing. So good or bad, the thing we've just created here can't be used by ourselves. So let's add some tests for it anyway. It's kind of extra work that doesn't benefit me at all. Maybe others, I do hope so. So let's have a bare repository. So these never have separate working trees. And as we initialize this should also not have a separate working tree. Okay. That about that. Then we should have a place where the separate working tree is true. I think that will be the case here. Do we verify somewhere that we are actually having this kind of setup? Yeah. Don't we use the... Oh yeah, here we use it. Ha! So that's where we want to do this. Module repo path. No. No, there I have to use the other one, the way I do it as well, because I don't return a path there. Fine, but at least I can make the assertions here as module. So if it's a dir, it does not have a separate working directory. If it's a file, it does have a separate working directory. Working tree, like so. That should indeed be the case. Let's test it one by one. Test repo should work. Then we do a test submodule. Well, we do this anyway, so. All right, so far so good. Test rename. We're back. Git module. So here we can use it now, finally. I think we should keep it anyway. Mod has separate working tree. If it has a separate working tree, then we have to do anything at all. Otherwise, we don't. Move the separate Git repository around somewhere. And it should be as easy as a move. Which isn't that easy after all. We have to take care of a few cases here. So we could move it. Oh yeah, well, wait. So first, let's have the module name that we need, huh? Or the module path. module apps path, the new one, module apps path. It wants a few things from us. Parent repo path name. So that's self repo. Doesn't matter. Name does matter. Name is the new name. And we have the module here, which still points, the git dir is still the one that we want to rename. And basically all we want to do is rename mod git dir to module apps path. And we want to be totally sure that our repository, the module will then correctly point to the right thing, which means we have to rewrite our git file as well. Awesome. And then everything else should naturally be fine. Where is this? Write git file. And this requires a module working tree dir, which should not change. In the meanwhile, and the module apps path, that's the one that has changed because it's based on the new name now. So all we have to have left to be done here is to basically make the rename. And for that, I think I just create directories here that are on the way. If not, OS path is dir module apps path, do it. Yeah, same thing. Or do we have a rename S? We have a rename S. True. Does it do directories? I think it does. This is why it's so super. I think I can just use this one. Import, yeah. Create directories as necessary and delete any left. Yeah, that's the thing. Exactly as I wanted. Yep. That should be quite all right. Like so. That should be normalized path at least, so we don't run into some weird issues with path all of a sudden not existing anymore. Whatnot, that should be fine. That should definitely be fine. And we're good. Let's see what the test says about our work so far. No. Interesting. It said it ran one test. Oh yeah, it ran the config test. And now it didn't test anything at all because we put. Excuse me, I think I have duplicate name here. Test rename. Yeah. Like so. Oh yeah, true. We've never run this test before. Because now we have the issue again that we do try to create a new submodule, but have a repository without an initial commit, submodule base 375. And then it tries to resolve head and fails. And it tries to do that because what? Config parser constraint wants to have a commit here. Parent commit, that's the guy. And yeah, that can only fail. But we could set the parent commit afterwards. So we could catch this basically and set it later. So we have value error. Okay. Set cache. Yeah, let's mark it with none for now. And one more issue. 380. Yeah, so the parent commit will be set in the new one anyway. Problem now here that we try to access the commit information in the config parser because check a config writer because check is true, I suppose. Or is there maybe not a flag to prevent that check from happening? 171. Parent matches head. Yeah. And this one will be used from there on. So I guess I should catch it. Yeah, I don't like it so much. Value error tells nothing. And it's very generic. Could be any value error and maybe the wrong one in the future. Huh. Reference does not exist error or something. That would be better. Yeah. I have an issue for this, an open issue. And I might have closed it even because I thought, well, that's good enough, but no, I don't think so anymore. Anyway. We are most likely in an empty repository. So the head doesn't point to a valid ref. Alright. And then in 400. Ha! We still don't have a commit because we didn't commit it yet. Question, should we auto commit if the repository was empty? Answer, no. Should not do that. Also means we have, oh no, the bin sha we will have, but the parent commit, by the way, do I just use this once? Yes, I do. So once again, this can fail. And we just have to set it to none. And we can't set it to anything better until the commit was done, and we don't know about that. So I don't know, that will be a submodule that is kind of possibly not working unless we check for none, which we should. And if it is none, we try to initialize it. Maybe just don't initialize it then, so that it kind of is fetched automatically when we next need it. And maybe by then there will already be a valid commit here. So let's try that. Okay. Like here. Should we log this? Maybe. Log debug. Seems like a possible help to people who wonder why this is not really working. At least it points at some location that people can search for just to read additional information here. And like so. Attribute error, parent commit. Whoa. True, now that we don't set it. Create submodule, add writers, config writer 387. Now that we don't set it. Yeah. (215). Parent commit could be unset. Damn it. Yeah. Maybe we should keep it none. And then just clear the cache. Oops. Ugh. Yeah, we just clear the cache later and hope for the best. So that doesn't work. Make sure there is no such thing anymore. Oh no, wait. It's actually del as m parent commit asymptotic sugar to del editor. All right. And it could possibly not be existing. Well, maybe it is existing at this point. So let's just try that. Maybe this code doesn't run even. We will see, but it should run. Because repo add commit will cause an error. Nonetheless. Good. Where are we? We are in test rename 7.15.915. So at least we are where we are. What's the problem? What? Source section yanim, what? Doesn't exist? Oh, SM, I probably, SM section. Ah, all the invocations are wrong here. Like so. Oops. One more time. Oh no, actually we are done. 4 times, 2 config files. Good. $7.15, $9.15. Really? Excuse me? Why is that? Maybe our own config writer couldn't really write or something, or didn't write the changes back. Maybe something along these lines. Because we should commit first, possibly. Yeah. Let's do that. That's at least what would be expected. Good. Oh, wait, sorry. Parent index commit, like so. Good, and the source section does not exist, so apparently something in our add method kind of failed, and we didn't notice that. So there's the parent. There's a git modules file. Source section, submodule, my modules, my name doesn't exist. But it seems to be existing. Where is it set again? Probably in the git config, huh? 9.15, that's a git config, yeah, sorry. So I'm looking at the wrong spot. So there it is, where it should be. Git, I'm in the wrong direction here. Directory here. So wait, this is a parent repository. Here we have a git config, and there is no configuration. Indeed. I wonder why. Because that should not be affected by any parent commits at all. So add. Maybe I don't write it because I don't need it myself, and because I figured it would also be not required by git submodule. But maybe, yeah, let's see. Update configuration as m repo. Write false, okay. But if write is false, oh no, write false means that it shouldn't write the index. Yeah, that was, yeah. One additional misnomer, huh? Should be write index false. Would be awesome. Writer release should write that stuff. Huh. So add attempts to do the right thing. No, wait, that's our own config writer. And it's just our own config writer. Ha 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 ha. All right. So we don't do it. This is why it's not working. So tell me, what does Git submodules think about our setup here? I think it's alright. You know, I don't know why Git even wants to why it even wants to have that. I mean, what does it put in there? If I will now git submodule, add my own, add URL and where my module, like so, then it will add this information, but for what reason? What's the matter? So here it has a minus in front of it. Is it because the repository config is not written? Because it should be checked out, right? Yes, it is. It should be hooked up and stuff. Yeah, well, all good. But let's just try it and kick out the submodule information. And now we have minus 2 times. So that's what it is. It thinks it's kind of not there because we didn't write the configuration. So in fact, we do have to do that now. Terrific. Terrific and awesome. So we would also have to keep it consistent then, because we changed the URLs when updating possibly, and yeah. I don't really want to cater to the existing Git submodule configuration, but at least to get rid to the minus here. I would really like to know why this is so important. So I've never found anything useful in this submodule.c, but maybe today I will. Submodule config git modules config. Get git work tree, what? No, submodule config. Okay, that's another thing. Yeah. So we don't want the git modules config, parse submodule config option. Also that I think is nothing we're interested in. We're just interested in the default config. I don't know which functions they use actually to do this. Check add config, get config maybe? No. As I said, I never find anything. But I'm also not so fond of the API they're using here, if you can call it that. It's a really brute force C program, kind of, relatively brute force. So, good, nothing there for me. At least I'm not able to see it. Yeah. Good. Let's write the URL then. Fair enough, can do this here. SM repo. It's important to add the URL to the parent config to let submodule know. Otherwise there is a minus character in front of the submodule listing. like so. What else it means, I have no idea. Am I able to find this spot where it's kind of explaining why this is important? Probably not. But I'm always optimistic. So can I find a list ls submodule commit present? Yeah, it always runs subcommands here, which makes it even harder to understand what's really going on. I thought this was originally a Perl implementation, maybe even a shell implementation. Git submodule shell. Oh yes, it is. So that could explain why I find nothing ever. So git submodule without invocation should just list things. Do we have that? Module list, here we go. Well. I don't know. Oh, here. Register submodules in git config. Yeah, whatever. Not for me. So let's have another writer here. Config writer. Oh yeah, which one? The repository. Config level is none by default, okay. If none, all applicable levels will be used. No. Repo, huh? User system global repository. Oh, it's interesting because I think this I do somewhere else as well, and there I just don't care. And it still writes it back. How does that work? Does it just write one file kind of naturally? No. Oh, config reader is none and config writer is, I was seeing the wrong file, the wrong method. So that is repository by default, so awesome. I was thinking, damn, this shouldn't have ever worked. Good, that will work. Writer release, do that right away. And now writer set value. What do we do? Which section? It's SM section, SM name. Do I have it set already? Possibly not. Name is there. Name value is URL. Option is URL and the value is URL. That is it. And the section ends here. Good. So that should at least put in the piece of information that it obviously wants. And I believe we shouldn't, if the thing doesn't exist, then we say it's alright because it's not necessarily important. So the value error here, we just check for this. If the source doesn't exist, we don't care. So we rename only if we have to, and that should fix that. Besides the fact that we now add more information so that Git submodule should be happier with us than before. Alright, none type has no, okay, there we go. We try to access our parent commit, which is still none. And even though I would have thought that we deleted it. Okay. We'll try that. We are in, oh, we are still in rename here. We didn't even get that far. And 931. Yeah, now we try to do our own config writer here, and we're still suffering. Okay, the rename comes after the commit, and for some reason the parent commit is still none. Let's just be sure this is not the case. SM parent commit is not none. Probably that is the case though. We do it in exactly one spot, which is here. Yet I would believe that at the end of the add, it will try to set it, fail, and if it fails, it deletes the existing cache. And that should be the case. It is the case. Probably it gets reinitialized later at some point because, yeah, question is when? Under which circumstances? Well, let's put in a traceback then. Is it like that? I think like that. Okay. Maybe like so. Okay. So it's going there 2 times. Submodule add as m exists. And then test rename, create submodule, and then index add. Really? 421? This one triggers it as well? Man. I didn't expect that. But probably because, yeah, it reads the path. The path kind of, good, well, fine. Good, so here it will be triggered again, fair enough. And all we will do is make sure we kill the cache, the none, before we leave, basically. If repo is empty, go. Maybe that's better. Yeah, a bit. Now we are in 940. So we got the config writer there, which also means we have a valid parent commit. Do I like this code here? No, I don't like it. But I also don't like the special case that repo has no commit. I don't know, at some point you have to check for it, right? You have to deal with it. This means conditions. I don't know, maybe there are better ways to deal with that, but well, let's just say I don't see it right now. I'm kind of fixing symptoms there as well. And that's probably more what I don't like. Probably I don't like parent commit. This is kind of the source of the issue here. No, well, it's not. Sometimes, well, maybe it is. Maybe it's 90% of the problem that I have this internal cache for the parent commit. I know it's required for the update, but it's way too important right now. Okay, so what does it say? Will not set. Okay, that's something else. Section constraint. Object has no attribute. Rename section. Okay, here I do it incorrectly because the config writer is not a normal thing anymore. Yeah. True. What I wanted to say is the config writer is actually a section submodule config writer or something. Config parser constraint. Yeah, it's its own thing, and it might just not have all the methods available, even though it should. So where do I find this? I think it's submodule config parser. I think that's more like it, and it should have everything I want. So what? Rename section. Well, true, it can't rename itself, right? Ha! That's funny. All right, then. Then I go one level lower, I suppose. That's easy enough. So it's that one. And then it returns a submodule config parser on the FP module. Good. It's that read only false. And I think, don't we have to pass an index here or something? Oh yeah, it sets it later. Whoa. But it's just that one here, auto write. Okay, so that is that. We set it up ourselves now. And then we need the module path here, which is that one. It's self repo working tree, that's a parent repo. Okay, module file, all right. Read only false. All right. And then we have to configure that one. So there, wait. Yeah, the config should be the config writer itself. So that's CW in our case, config writer, index, set the index, set auto write to true. Or maybe not, we flush manually. We can flush manually. Flush to index. Yeah, you know what? auto write false, I do it myself. Self repo index. All right, that is more like it. Now we have kind of an unconstrained. You know what? I could also just get a section constraint and then use the underlying one. Oh no, wait. I just do it manually, I suppose. So release will basically flush the changes to the file, and then we say flush to index, and we are good. That should be that. Now a git modules file is part of the index and was flushed there. And one more step towards redemption, and it's still none. Really? Excuse me? Oh no, wait, something else is now. As mref is not none. Ha! What is as mref? Set submodule. Oh wait, it has to set itself. Really? Why do I have to give it self index if it has access to its own submodule? What does it need as M for? To clear the cache. But that index can be none. It will just grab the right index. Fine, awesome. So I will leave it none then. And auto write is true by default, so we should change that. I'm not a fan of having to set this its private members kind of, but okay, I consider myself a friend of this class, so I can do it, but I don't like it. I don't like this at all. It's really, this cache thing, this is so intrusive. Man. So, still have to set ourselves here. Set submodule. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm feeling like using the config writer would be much less code like this. Self config writer. That's a section constraint. And the config is contained in there. So basically we can do it a bit differently here. That's fine. Like so. Submodule should be set already. And this flush to index should be doing it as well. I don't know how auto flush is supposed to be working here. Auto write. Unless there's some meta class that I don't see. Yeah, it probably works, but still. I don't know how it works. Oh, overwritten method here is how it works. So whenever the base implementation wants to write something, it flushes the index, all right, after it has written the stuff. Good. So it needs as mref, needs an index and adds things. Write is auto write. I think in that case we can do it. Auto write can remain like it is. And yeah, I think the rest should be working. So this is it now. That's much better. Good. And not good. Well, I think there will be a part 2 about this. It took longer than expected.